Tell me about your oil cans here now.
Well, first of all, I want to talk about why we have favorite oils, what leads us into stuff, and so forth. In my neighborhood, when I was a kid, there was a guy with a '60 Falcon that I bought off him later, straight front axle car and so forth. And in his garage, he had this sticker. So that became my first favorite oil. And they were big in drag racing and so forth. And it was good oil. Valvoline was the first oil that was used in cars. It was created from a doctor in, I think, Arkansas, where he used it, and he put it on a rod for a steam engine, and it lubricated it. It became a thing that everybody did. Anyway, they became Ashland, and then merged and became bigger, and Ashland, Valvoline. But there's a lot of snake oils, and snake oils are the game of making you think something's better than it is. So we were just talking about oils, and I want to talk about snake oil. Snake oil is where people overrated their stuff and told people it was miracle stuff, and it happened forever. And the oil that we use today is miracle stuff, the synthetic oils. But this was a test on here where I had this done for me in the 80s by Slick 50. This same test, they put a bearing and they grind this thing, and they do this thing, and they put a load on this bearing, and then they pour their oil on. All of a sudden it stops the noise. It's paraffin. It's a trick. Paraffin runs to any high heat, but it will clog your motor if you use paraffin oil. Paraffin was the trick of all oils. Now, there's STP. STP is thick oil that became so sticky, and this might be a little different, that it will stay where you put it, and it's good for like lifter lube or something to start a motor.
Oil part 3.
So we're talking oil and stories from my past. Pennzoil. My friend Lance at Reseda Auto Parts would take motors apart. He was an engine guy there, and every Pennzoil motor would be clogged. This has paraffin in it. Pennzoil is actually a company from Los Angeles that imported the oil from Pennsylvania that was high paraffin, and it's great for a motor that's burning up the last thing. But now they've got the paraffin out. The new Pennzoils are different. This is 1950s. My dad worked for this company. He sold State Power oil and gas treatment. It was snake oil. It was just other people's oil, and they'd repackage it. A friend of mine worked for a company called Life Chemical in Reseda, and he had me work there one night repackaging oil, and I went through the building and found all Shell oil products being changed to can, put into different can, out of 55-gallon drums into quart cans, and it was Shell stuff. They all sell their stuff in bigger drums to smaller companies, so you don't know if their product is really the super stuff. But recently, this is what we're getting to. I studied oil, and I was looking, and I ran into a guy, and I was going to link it to this, but I couldn't find the link. But I read his studies on oil. He tests oil, an engineer, and he was a drag racer, big block Chevy drag racer. Anyway, he studied all these oil and just gave the specifications of the oil, what the load they could take, how much heat, how much cool, all the things. And he discovered the 2 highest rating oil, which I'm using in my car, which I never thought I'd use in my life because it sounded kind of cheap or whatever. Here it is. Quaker State synthetic. It rated the highest on all his tests. AMSOIL synthetic was number 2, and it's a lot more money. Quaker State, you could buy it at the local auto parts store. So I'm using it. If anybody's had a problem with it, let me know, or if they think it's junk, or why. But tell me why. I really would be interested in your stories on all your oils that you use and why. If it's because of it's just worked for years, or there's somebody you connected with it, just like me with the Valvoline. Tell your story. So if I were just going to use a synthetic oil in this car just by my mind and marketing and so forth, it would have been Mobil 1 Racing. And then I looked into it, and I didn't need it, and it's expensive. And for the street and for my application, it's no better than the Quaker State. Mobil 1 created synthetic oil, so I give them that. And zinc in oil, high zinc. I don't need high zinc necessarily because I have a roller cam. The zinc is used for flat tappet cams. Big block Chevy is the first cam that Chevrolet was